You feel that little itch behind your eyes, that quiet scream in your gut when everything around you looks normal but feels like it's seconds from collapsing. Yeah, that's not paranoia, that's the truth trying to introduce itself. And tonight's funny because you think it's just another night. Another scroll, another snack, another escape disguised as peace. But the thing about nights like this, they don't just pass, they transform, they corner you. Strip away your little routines. Peel back the calm and show you the version of yourself that's been clawing at the door with bloody hands, begging to be let in approval. What a beautiful little leash. Soft, invisible, custom made to fit just right around your ambition. You don't even feel it most days, do you? It's disguised as kindness, dressed up like humility. Don't be too loud, they say. Don't take up too much space, so you shrink. You dim your light just enough to make the room comfortable for the people who never even deserve to sit next to your fire. You smile when you're dying inside, you nod when your soul's screaming no. All for what? A pat on the back. A clap from a crowd that doesn't know your name and never will. But there comes a moment, and it's never loud, never theatrical, when something inside you just snaps. Not in anger, not in grief, but in awareness, a click, a pulse. You suddenly realize you've spent years building a life in someone else's hands and they've been clumsy from the start. You realize you were never weak, you were just waiting for permission that no one had the authority to give. And the second you stop asking for it, oh, that's when things start to bleed in color. See, when you stop needing them to like you, to validate you, to say good job, you become dangerous, untouchable. Because now you're not playing their game, you've flipped the board. You're writing your own rules in the walls of every room you enter, and you don't whisper anymore. You roar with your presence, your silence, your refusal to bend. Because you finally get it. You finally see how approval was never love. It was control wearing lipstick. You start noticing how people shift when you stop performing. When you stop being digestible, you watch their discomfort grow the minute you choose yourself over their expectations. You'll lose them, one by one, quietly. The ones who only liked the version of you that played small will disappear like smoke. And it'll sting for a second. It'll feel like failure. But then something wild happens, you realize you don't miss them. Not really, because for the first time you can hear your own voice without the static. And oh, what a voice it is. It's not polished, it's not pretty. But it's real, raw, scraped up from years of hiding. Behind I'm fine and it's okay. It shakes when it first speaks. Not out of fear, out of resurrection. It's the voice of someone who's finally stepping into the chaos without a mask. Someone who's done apologizing for making people uncomfortable with their truth. Someone who doesn't flinch when the room goes silent after they speak. That silence, that's the sound of your freedom echoing. You won't be easy to love after this, not by the ones who only understand love through control. You won't be easy to manage or manipulate. You'll be called selfish, crazy, and you'll smile because they don't even realize those words are compliments in this new language you speak. A language of boundaries, of clarity, of unapologetic presence. They'll call it arrogance when you stop bowing. Let them. You know better now. You know that humility without self-respect is just self-destruction in disguise. This version of you doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't lower the volume just to make others feel taller. This version shows up like thunder on a sunny day, unexpected, loud, and impossible to ignore. Not out of pride, out of necessity. Because you finally realized who you are without the mirrors, without the noise, without the audience. And it's terrifying, isn't it? To meet yourself for the first time without costume, without cue cards, without applause. Terrifying. And exhilarating now people will say you've changed. Of course they will, because they only ever knew the echo of who you thought you had to be. They never met the real you, not until now. And the real you, oh, the real you doesn't flinch anymore. Doesn't wait for anyone to clap. Doesn't edit their dreams for someone else's comfort. The The real you doesn't seek permission to exist at full volume. The real you doesn't perform, you become. You ever notice how excuses dress up like friends? Real smooth, charming, always got your back, right? They whisper things like not today, or you're not ready, or the classic, what if you fail? Sweet little lullabies that rock you to sleep while your potential screams through the walls. But here's the truth, excuses aren't there to protect you. They're there to own you, to keep you quiet, to keep you manageable. You think you're in control because you've got reasons. But reasons are just prettier names for chains. Tonight isn't about waiting anymore. Not about the right mood or the right moment or the perfect alignment of stars and vibes and whatever else you keep blaming. Tonight is about execution. Not the gentle kind. The brutal, messy, bloody kind. The kind where you bury every story you've told yourself about why you can't, and dig up the version of you that just does. Because if you're still explaining, still justifying, still negotiating with yourself, you're not hungry, you're scared. And fear doesn't get to drive anymore. It's not about motivation. That's another trick. You wait for motivation like it's some mystical creature that's gonna fly in and sprinkle purpose on your forehead. No, you move without it. You get up without it. You build habits that ignore how you feel because feelings are liars when comfort's involved. You want to know who wins. The ones who get tired and do it anyway. The ones who cry on the floor and then wipe their face and keep going. The ones who don't romanticize the grind, they become the grind. You ever sit in the dark with your own guilt? It's loud. It pokes at you. Reminds you of all the times you said tomorrow and meant never. All the times you swore this would be your moment, and then folded the second it got hard. That guilt, that's earned. You built it brick by brick, and now you're sitting in the prison you helped design. But here's the wild part, you're also holding the key. No one's stopping you. No one's coming. And that's not sad. That's power. Because it means it's all on you. Every excuse is just a choice in costume, so what happens when you stop lying to yourself? When you stop calling laziness self-care and stop dressing fear up like logic, you get raw. You get violent with your patterns, with your lies, with every part of you that would rather be liked than legendary. And no one tells you this, but sometimes growth feels like murder. You have to kill who you were to become who you were supposed to be. That version of you who said maybe later, it can't come with you. That version who settled for being almost. Leave them in the dirt tonight isn't just a time on the clock. It's a funeral and a resurrection. One self dies, the other rises. Not in glory, not in spotlight, but in grit, in silence, in the moments where no one is watching and you do it anyway. That's where legends are born, not in applause, but in the echo of your own footsteps, when it's just you and the work and the choice to show up one more time. You don't need more advice. You don't need more quotes. You don't need another plan. You need action. Ugly, imperfect, relentless action. You need to be the kind of person who looks in the mirror and doesn't blink. The kind who knows that fear doesn't disappear, you just get faster than it, louder than it, bigger than it. You stop letting your doubts write the script and you start talking back. Loud, unapologetic, ruthless. Not because it's easy, because it's required, because if tonight really is the night you change, then it has to hurt. It has to rip something out of you that you swore you needed. Comfort, control, approval, all of it. Burn it. You want to evolve. Then sacrifice who you were. Stop editing yourself to fit the story you've outgrown. Stop rehearsing failure like it's inevitable. Stand up, stare your excuses in the face and say you don't get to live here anymore. Potential. That sick little word people like to throw around like it's some magical currency. You've got potential, they say, like it's a compliment. But it's not. It's a warning. It's a ticking time bomb taped to your chest. Because potential means you haven't done it yet. Potential is the cage they build for people who look like they could be dangerous if they ever decided to stop waiting. And the worst part, you bought into it. You framed your potential like a diploma and hung it on the wall, hoping someone would clap for something you might do someday. You scroll. You daydream. You imagine speeches at award shows and fancy cars and how everyone will finally see you. But you don't move, you don't act. Because deep down you're in love with the fantasy of what could be. And fantasies are safe. You can't fail in a fantasy. You can't get hurt. You can't be judged. You sit in your room with your vision boards and quotes and playlists and think you're doing something. But you're not building, you're stalling. You're high off potential and calling it purpose. You want to know the truth. The world doesn't care what you could do. It only cares what you do. Your potential is a ghost, a whisper, a shadow. It doesn't breathe until you give it blood, and that means work. That means sacrifice. That means risk, real risk, not the kind where you fail in private and cry it off. The kind where you fall in front of everyone and they laugh and you still get up. Because that's the price, not just pain, public pain. Are you ready for that? Or are you just addicted to the idea of greatness because it sounds better than mediocrity? There are people out there who are 10 times less talented than you, less smart, less gifted, but they're winning. You know why? Because they move, they act, they take the hits and keep swinging while you rehearse, while you wait, while you overthink, while you convince yourself that the timing isn't right or you're still working on yourself. You don't need another breakthrough, you need a breakdown. A collapse of all these soft lies you've been living in. Potential without execution is just a slow death. It's a knife you hold to your own throat while you smile in the mirror and say soon. You keep telling yourself you're different, that you're meant for more, that you're just waiting for the right sign. But that sign is never coming, because it's not out there, it's in you. It's buried under all the comfort you've mistaken for peace. You'll never feel ready. You'll never feel good. But if you're waiting to feel something before you do something, you'll be waiting until you rot. You think you've got time. That's the cruelest joke of all. You think you can keep postponing your becoming like the universe is patient. But every second you wait is a second closer to never. One day you'll wake up and realize the gap between who you are and who you could have been has grown too wide to cross. And you'll lie to yourself again. Tell yourself it's okay, that you tried, that maybe it wasn't meant to be, but you'll know that you didn't try. You hesitated, you stalled, you made potential your prison. Instead of your launch pad, you don't need motivation. You need a funeral for the person you keep pretending to be. The one who talks big and acts small. The one who makes plans and never executes. The one who hides behind dreams. Because action might reveal they're not as special as they thought. Bury that version. Mourn it, then build something with your bare hands. Something that moves, something that stings, something that costs you. Because that's the only way potential becomes power, when it stops being a promise and starts being a problem for anyone who ever doubted you control. The thing everyone pretends they have until life taps them on the shoulder and laughs in their face. You think you're in control because you plan, because you post your little routines and read your little books and drink water at the perfect temperature. You think control is neat handwriting and affirmations taped to your mirror. But real control, oh, that's ugly. It's not found in your morning checklist. It's found in the middle of chaos, when everything goes sideways and your mind doesn't flinch. See, most people don't want control. They want predictability. They want to feel safe, like life's a puzzle with instructions and all the corners already separated. But the minute something unpredictable happens, the illusion cracks. And suddenly the same people who said they were calm and focused start spiraling. One comment, one failure, one betrayal, and boom, the mask slips. So ask yourself, if you only feel strong when things go your way, are you actually strong or just lucky? The truth is, control starts where comfort ends. It's not about managing what happens around you. It's about mastering what happens inside you. They insult you, you don't react. They abandon you, you don't chase. They misunderstand you, and you don't break into 1,000 pieces trying to explain yourself. That kind of power, it doesn't scream. It doesn't post, it chooses. It doesn't need the last word, it becomes the last word. And that kind of control, it terrifies people. Because they can't manipulate someone who won't bite the bait, but it's not easy, is it? No one tells you how hard it is to stay still when every part of you wants to snap. No one tells you how heavy it is to carry silence when someone's poking at your wounds just to see if they still bleed. That's where the work is. In the moments where every instinct says react and you just don't. You sit in it. You feel the heat rising, the pressure building, and you don't explode. That's real power. That's where the monsters inside you start to listen instead of scream. It's funny how people think not reacting means weakness. But what they don't see is that you're holding back a storm with your bare hands. That you could destroy them with truth, but you choose peace. Not for them, for you. Because you've seen what it costs to let everyone pull your strings. You've tasted the regret of saying too much, doing too much, proving too much. And now you sit in your own skin like it's armor. And nothing, not their chaos dressed up as love gets to drag you out of it. The trick is this: you don't need to control people. You just need to control your reaction to them. Because when you master that, they lose all access to your peace. And that's the game, isn't it? That's what no one teaches you. That your peace is currency, and every time you react to something stupid, you're spending it on garbage. But when you learn to observe instead of absorb, that's when you flip the script. They yell, you blink. They lie, you breathe. They betray, you build, not out of spite, out of strategy, because what they don't expect is for you to stay calm. That throws them off. They're used to people, matching their fire, their drama, their noise. They want to pull you into their storm so they don't have to sit in it alone. But when you stay still, when you stay steady, you force them to look in the mirror. And most people can't handle that kind of reflection, so they call you cold, they call you heartless. Let them. You know what you are. Untouchable. And untouchable doesn't mean you don't feel, it means you don't flinch, and yeah, it gets lonely. You'll start to notice how few people actually know how to handle someone who's emotionally disciplined. Because most relationships thrive on chaos, on reaction, on games. And when you remove all of that, suddenly the silence is deafening. But that silence, that's where the real ones show up. The ones who don't need your fire to feel warm. The ones who don't poke your scars just to see what happens. The ones who speak your language: stillness, depth, presence. Not noise, not drama. Just raw, unwavering energy. Everyone talks about staying calm under pressure like it's a switch you can just flip. Breathe in, breathe out, light some candles, sip your tea, and suddenly, poof, you're unshakable. But the truth is, real calm doesn't come from breathing exercises or pastel-colored mantras. Real calm is earned, it's built in fire, in the moments no one sees. When your whole world's falling apart and you're standing in the rubble with no answers, no applied density, hatch. That's where calm is carved, not given. Carved because staying calm under pressure isn't natural. No, what's natural is panic, flinching, blaming, screaming into the void like a child who didn't get their toy. That's natural. That's what most people do. But calm is rebellion. Calm is warfare. It's choosing to stare chaos in the face and say, you don't get to control me. You think that's soft? No, that's lethal. Because when everyone else is drowning in noise, the one who's silent is dangerous. Pressure is funny. It doesn't ask who you think you are. It shows who you really are. It doesn't care about your resume, your affirmations, your plans. It strips you down to your instinct. And your instinct tells the truth. The real question is, when life squeezes you, what spills out? Anger, fear, desperation, or calm? Because calm doesn't mean you're not scared. It means fear doesn't get the steering wheel. It's still there, sure, whispering in your ear. But it's in the backseat now. And that's everything you ever watch people fall apart over the smallest things. Someone doesn't text them back fast enough and they start unraveling like thread. One little comment, one missed opportunity, and it's meltdown mode. That's not strength. That's emotional instability dressed in cute outfits and fake wisdom quotes. People love to play the strong card until they're tested, until something doesn't go their way, until the pressure kicks in and squeezes all the nonsense right out of them. And what do you see? Not strength. Just noise now, real calm. It doesn't show off. It doesn't explain itself. It just is. You walk into a room full of chaos, and instead of getting infected by it, you stay clean. You stay cold. Not emotionally dead, just unavailable for drama. You don't react because you've already made peace with the worst case scenario. And that's the secret, isn't it? It's not about hoping things go right. It's about preparing for when they don't. Real calm isn't about blind optimism. It's about brutal clarity. Most people avoid pressure. They run from it, complain about it, blame other people for it. But pressure is the only thing that sharpens the blade. No one becomes powerful sipping smoothies and meditating on mountaintops forever. Sooner or later, life throws you in the fire, and in that fire you either scream or smile. You either crack or crystallize. You either become someone who falls apart under tension, or someone who uses tension to rise. And don't mistake calm for passivity. That's where people get it wrong. Calm people are not passive, they're precise. They're not slow, they're surgical. While the rest of the world's swinging wildly, they aim. They hit where it hurts. Not with volume, with accuracy. You think calm people aren't dangerous? Try crossing one who's mastered the art of restraint. That's not weakness. That's a sleeping lion choosing not to roar because it doesn't need to. Everyone already knows what happens if it does. There's this moment right before everything explodes, when time slows down. The air changes. People start looking around, waiting for someone to crack. And in that moment, if you're the one who doesn't blink, doesn't flinch, doesn't stutter, you own the room. You don't even have to speak. Just your stillness is loud.